I am making this video from Scotland. I'm in Glasgow at the moment. I am on the Scottish leg of my UK tour. I'm a little bit low down, I need to be higher. I thought I'd do like a little review of all the UK cities that I visited in the last month and what it was like busking in all these new places. All of this was made possible by Caffe Nero. They offered me a string of gigs in their stores, and so I got to visit York, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Cambridge, Glasgow and Edinburgh. Quick note from editing Charlotte, sorry I forgot to mention that I also went to Brighton. I knew I'd forgotten something. And then I sort of made it into a Caffe Nero and busking tour, so each city that I visited I tried to do a bit of busking in. It didn't go as to plan, to be honest, as I would have liked, because I caught the flu about halfway through the UK, the like England part of the tour, and that really knocked me down. And I managed to like get right through, and I played all of the Caffe Nero shows, but some of the busking I didn't make it. I just couldn't handle it because I wasn't well enough. But here's what I found from my research anyway. I went to Brighton first of all, so I did some busking in Brighton, and I was really scared because I decided to try and go and busk down by the pier, and it was like almost too good to be true. I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm gonna play on Brighton Pier, or along the promenade, and no one's gonna stop me. Like, this is too good. And it was a fantastic pitch. I'm definitely going back to Brighton for some busking. Great place. The first city that I visited was York. Wrong! I went to York on a Sunday, and then my Caffe Nero gig was on a Monday, and I loved it. Really beautiful, it's got really nice people. There's no like permit for York, it's just sort of an etiquette that you need to behave in a certain way, and they have that, you can have a look at online, they have a code of conduct. So the first place that I busked was like outside NatWest Bank on a kind of cobbled street. I chose the NatWest pitch because I saw someone else busking outside there like earlier that day, and I was like, okay, so that guy's playing there, I wonder if that's a good spot. And the bank was closed, so it's quite nice. I quite like when I'm busking to have something behind me so that my back is against something, just because it makes me feel less vulnerable because no one can kind of come up behind you. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll go there, like in front of the bank doors almost. Even though it was really quiet, the people that walked past were so engaged and wonderful, and I had some like really funny drunk people like joining in. Some little kids came and like enjoyed it, and yeah, it was really nice atmosphere. I had walked past a couple of times and seen people busking outside Betty's tea shop, which is a really famous place in York where lots of people queue up for like infamous tea and cakes and, you know, things like that, all covered in flowers. And I was like, oh, that would be such a good spot for me, I'd love to play there. I did go up and ask some guys that were playing, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna be here for like 3 hours, which I felt was like slightly against the sort of etiquette of like share the space. I wasn't gonna like say anything because I'm not from around there, I don't know how it works, so I was like, okay, fine. So then the following day I thought I will just go and see if anyone's playing, and there was a guy playing, so I just thought I was just gonna go up and ask if he's gonna finish anytime soon. He said like half an hour, so I thought I can wait half an hour, that's fine. So I like sat down on the bench, almost like some miracle happened. Not to be, I never wish anything bad on another busker, but his amp battery ran out like immediately. I felt like it was a good sign from the universe that I was meant to be playing here. So I played there for about 2 hours, and I really loved it. It was a really good pitch, like really warm, and like lots of lovely people, and people could sit down and listen on benches, and yeah, it just felt really good. And then some other guys came along and played, and I went and like had some lunch and like had a little bit of a chill. And when I came back, those guys were gone. So I jumped back on, and I played outside the tea shop again, but it kind of got a bit quiet. It was a Monday, and it got around 5 p.m. and it really died down. The following day I had like a day spare, and I was going to go between York and Manchester, but one of my followers called Paul got in touch with me and said he's from Halifax and he could speak to somebody about getting me a busking picture there, and would I be interested. And I was like, I've never been to Halifax, it's right in the middle, and like if you can guarantee me a spot, that's quite a nice thing, because I do feel quite nervous going to a new place in terms of like, where am I going to play, and is it allowed, and all that kind of thing. So to have like the guarantee that you've got a spot, I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And it was outside the Peace Hall, which I feel like is the main draw in Halifax. Beautiful sunshine, like such a lovely day. The guy that ran it was really nice. He worked at the Peace Hall, and he was a little bit surprised because he was like, we don't normally have any buskers on a Tuesday, they usually come on the weekend. They seemed quite positive and welcoming to buskers, which I thought was really good. If it had been a weekend, it might have been much busier and like slightly better. The money wasn't great because it just wasn't busy enough. Like I feel like everyone that was there dropped, but there just weren't enough people because it was a bit quiet. But it was such a beautiful day and such a lovely location. And the next place I went to was Manchester, and I feel really sly on Manchester. Okay, I did my Caffe Nero gig, and I had planned to do some busking. I walked all around and like saw loads of other buskers, but as I say, I sort of had the flu, and I didn't recognise that I had the flu at first because I also had really bad toothache, and it was so bad. I was on loads of painkillers, and I was just like really not feeling well at all. I played my Caffe Nero gig, and then when I even thought about approaching some of the buskers and being like, hi, what time are you going to finish? Like, can I play? I just didn't have the energy for it. So I was like, maybe I'll find a pitch that's empty. Couldn't really see anywhere, and I just thought, you know what, I don't feel good. I don't think I'm going to have a good experience here. I didn't give Manchester a fair fight, and that is my bad. So I'm really, really sorry about that, Manchester. And I definitely owe you some busking. The next place I visited was Liverpool. Same as in Manchester, I wasn't feeling great. I'd got in touch with Liverpool One, who's like the shopping centre in Liverpool, and I just like organised a busking permit in advance. So because I'd done that, I sort of felt like I should do the pitch because I booked it. Liverpool was great. I love Liverpool. Like obviously I did a lot of Beatles songs. The people in Liverpool are so friendly. You can't deny it. They're just lovely, lovely people. Where I was busking was like these kind of grassy steps that people obviously like sit and have their lunch. And even though it was just a Thursday, there were loads of people about, and it was a great day. Other than like the sort of pre-booked pitches that I'd organised, I had planned to do a little bit of finding pitches other than that one, but because I wasn't feeling very well, so I didn't. But I saw amazing buskers, like full band buskers. There's a great scene. Obviously, I think Liverpool, you can't avoid it, like the Beatles and like all that. You can't avoid that in Liverpool. It's always going to be a good music scene. On Sunday, I played probably my favourite Caffe Nero gig, I have to say. It was in Birmingham, and just like so many people came down. I was so surprised. So I was really pleased with that. I didn't do any busking in Birmingham because I wasn't feeling well. So this video is getting to be sort of redundant. I couldn't imagine busking in Birmingham because I didn't see that much more than the massive shopping centre, which is the Bullring, which is like really cool. It's a really great place. But I know there must be a busking scene there because there's a really cool girl called Esther who like is smashing the busking scene in Birmingham, and so that's really cool to see like another girl busker like really going for it in another city. And then my last stop on my Caffe Nero tour for this section of it was Cambridge. Lovely gig because I had some really lovely people come down, so I'm really glad that I did that. Again, no busking, and I'm gutted because it looked amazing. I definitely would go back to Cambridge for a bit of busking because it looked so good, and there were so many tourists around because obviously the university, and like it's a brilliant UK city. Today I played in Glasgow, and I have to say it was my favourite city for busking so far. I got lucky. The sun was like shining on me. It was a really lovely day. I took my jacket off at one point, and it's like, Scotland, really? But it was like too hot, and I found a pitch outside the Royal Concert Hall, and I just loved it. I love the people. I love the vibe. It seemed like a lot of tourists as well as Scots. I am doing this video like maybe too early because I should be waiting to tell you how Edinburgh goes, but I already have a feeling that the busking in Edinburgh is going to be no good. Nothing to do with Edinburgh, but unfortunately the weather forecast is really bad. It's editing Charlotte again. I was in Edinburgh today, and as I suspected, it was really rainy and I couldn't do any busking. But I am playing a gig in Edinburgh on Tuesday at Voodoo Rooms, so I'm going to do some busking on Tuesday in Edinburgh. One more little note that I didn't mention. I ended up going to Newcastle after I filmed all of this video. I decided to go to Newcastle because the weather looked really good for Sunday in Newcastle, and I was staying just kind of in between Edinburgh and Newcastle when it was like viable to get to Newcastle if I wanted to. And I thought, well, if it's a nice day and it's a Sunday and I haven't got anything planned, it would be really nice to visit a new city and do some busking, and I had heard good things about Newcastle, so went over to Newcastle today, and it was really nice. I got a pitch outside the Marks and Spencer, and it was good. I found some of the other buskers a little bit too loud, and obviously I don't know them and I'm not local, so I don't feel like I could be like, oh, excuse me, you're being really loud, and it's quite intrusive. I do think buskers should just have respect for each other, and there should be a little bit of an etiquette, but there isn't always, unfortunately. So that's the thing I found with Newcastle, but otherwise it was really good fun, and the people were nice, and yeah, it was good. That's it from me, my little adventure around the UK. Cool. Right, I'll see you soon. Bye.